Are you new to running your church's social media channels and you are overwhelmed? In this episode, I will give you a simple game plan that you can follow. It has 5 rules of best practices for volunteer social media managers or recruited ones. This will give you the ability to stay consistent and stay encouraged. Let's go. Welcome back to the Kingdom Digital Podcast. My name is Marsha, your host. Welcome if you're new. I always start out with a scripture. I pulled up Galatians 6:9 in the New International Version today, and it says, "Let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." If we do not give up. This is my topic today. Giving up in social media management and like marketing for your church is easy, right? Because it's so overwhelming. It's fast paced nowadays. You think you got a grip of like some rules on Meta and TikTok, but then things turn around and they change. So today I will give you 5 rules that you can follow, and they are timeless and they apply to just your general processes for managing your social media channels for your church and your posting schedule and all of that. And my motto is always faithfulness over perfection. Okay, so we're trying to stay consistent. We're not trying to be perfect. All right, let's get into rule number 1. Take no weeks offline. I tell this to all my clients, all the churches and ministries that I help. No weeks offline. So we are, and it sounds maybe stressful at the beginning, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, we have to constantly be online and be posting and things. But there are really simple ways that you can use to not feel overwhelmed. And I would say at a minimum, try to go for 2 to 3 posts per week at a minimum. Okay. And the reason for this is it has a couple of reasons. So, of course, our goal is to have an online presence, right? We have a website as the hub, and then we have the social channels, and we have email marketing. And these are all pieces that play together. But we want to feed the algorithm. And it's just, yes, the ever so mighty algorithm that everybody talks about. And they are different for every platform. You want to be consistent because you're feeding the algorithm, which will help you to reach the right people with the message that you have. And also it's good for your own people because you are consistently feeding them spiritually, and just having an online community as a surplus to your in-person community. Okay, so like I said, aim for 2 to 3 posts a week, and then you can have like a bank or a vault with some evergreen posts. And when I say evergreen, I mean posts that are never out of season. And these, in our case, are usually scripture verses, scripture posts that you can create ahead of time, and you can keep them in a vault or in a bank for times when things get really busy and you don't want to create anything new. So whatever you create, I always say don't create one piece of content or 2, but try to create maybe 5, and then maybe don't use 2 or 3 of them and put them away for later. These can also be testimonies. You can have a list or like a spreadsheet of people giving you their testimonies, and you don't have to post them all at once, okay? So you can keep these things in a vault for busy weeks. Another thing is scheduling out your posts. I always preach that using a scheduler, and a good time to schedule is Friday for the next week ahead, because that just gives you the peace of mind, especially for the weekend, for church and everything, to be present and not having to think about posts. And so my thought here is rest, take the rest that you need, but don't go dark with your social channels. Okay, rule number 2 is use pillars, content pillars, to take out the guesswork. If you are unfamiliar with content pillars, I have a video that I made about how to create your content pillars and what they are. I will link that in the description below, so make sure to check that out if you haven't. So yes, you should have at least 3 content pillars, and there are some best practice ones for churches, which is in that video. But let's say you have 5, you can rotate these for 5 days a week and then don't post for 2 days of the week. And these would be inspiration, education, community, invitation, and testimony content. Again, I explained those further in that video that I mentioned. You can also make it even easier and use one content pillar for a particular day in the week. So you know that on Mondays, we're always posting inspirational content, which is usually the scripture that you used the Sunday before or a scripture that is on topic with your sermon series. And so you know that this is the bucket or the pillar that we are using every Monday. And then let's say every Wednesday, we're doing a volunteer highlight. We're highlighting someone from our community that is working hard, maybe with a picture or video, whatever you have. And so we're doing that every Wednesday. And that way you are creating a system for yourself if you are a one woman or a one man show. And also for others, if you are ever, I mean, it happens, like we all get sick or we can't do, we're not available to do it. And then you can easily pass that off to someone else, and that someone would know what to do. Real quick, if you need more guidance or you want to really get a grip on how to be a church social media manager, I'm launching a free course this fall called the Church Social Starter Kit. And it is a course that I will walk you through that has lessons and modules and also a community attached to it where you can ask questions and we can exchange. I will leave the link to the waitlist in the description below. Make sure you sign up for that, and I see you in the course. Rule number 3, batch and template everything. And I mean everything, okay? So starting out with, I always mention that Canva is my go-to because it is so easy to organize yourself in there. You can also have different team members and you have folders. So make a folder for scripture verses, for reels, for invitations, for flyers, make folders for everything and make sure you have a template. So what I mean by that is, let's say there is a quote from the pastor that you post every week, right? So you can have a template done already, which is maybe in your brand colors. You can also keep your brand colors in a brand kit in Canva. So they're really, all the hex codes are in there and you can use them. And that way you always have a template that you can then insert the quote in there and maybe change a couple of things and you're done. And you just take the guesswork out of it. You're not looking for new ways, you're not pretty much not fixing what's not broken. So I'm not saying don't try anything new, but these are just ways that if you have these prepared, you will thank yourself later. Trust me. So you can batch create and do templates for graphics, but you can also have some templates for captions. And so, for example, if you have I have one client that does a Saturday, most clients do that. Most churches have a Saturday invite for church next day. And so we have a couple of captions that we repeat or we kind of tweak, and you can just have that in a document, have it ready. So you can just, copy and paste them in. And Canva, of course, has all the formats. So you can have one square template, one story template, one reel template. It has all, another thing, YouTube thumbnails are super easy to template as well. So some churches do one style for one series, like sermon series, or you can just have one style altogether. And what I mean by that is having the title of the sermon or of the video on the thumbnail, and then all you need to do is swap out the picture and swap out the words, but all the the colors, the fonts, everything stays the same. So do this for even YouTube thumbnails as well. Let's move on to rule number 4, engagement first. And when I say engagement first, I mean engagement first of you, the church. Okay, put 15 minutes, 10 minutes aside per week, or maybe twice a week, to check in your DMs and your comments, answer them, give out little hearts, likes, answer questions, and just be present. This is social media. Okay, so we also need to be social. We're expecting that, right, from our audience, but we also need to engage online. Yeah, so reply to comments, DMs, and also thank volunteers if there's always someone to thank for in your team, right? In your church team, especially the pastors, they do a lot. And then you can also ask questions in the comments to kind of keep the conversation going, if it's appropriate, of course. Okay, rule number 5 is analyze and repeat. Now, when I say analyze, it can sound intimidating because you're like, how do I analyze, my social posts? It's gotten easier because we have amazing tools. My go-to is Metricool. When you use Metricool as a scheduler, it also gives you the analytics of what works and what doesn't work. And so you know what's going on. And you don't have to pull these every month. You can do a 90-day analytics, and just review those and look at saves, comments, and shares. We're not only looking at likes. Nowadays, it's 2025. Likes are really not telling you anything. It's sort of like a vanity metric, or it's not as important anymore because a lot of people, trust me, they swipe past without liking it. They like it in their head. I like that. I consume that piece of content, but they don't hit like. So it's not a good metrics to look at, but definitely comments because the person took time to write something and to share their thoughts. Saving that for later because it was impactful, and sharing is honestly my number one metric that I look at for myself and my clients, to see if something is working. And then simply double down on what is working and cut in half what is not working. It's so simple. But we need to know. And a lot of churches, I don't blame you because everyone is busy, but a lot of people who run social media channels, they just really post and then they set it and forget it. They don't even come back. And they don't know if it actually worked or it didn't work because they don't look at the analytics. And so don't look at a lot, like I said, don't get intimidated by it. Metricool, when you go to the reports tab, has a lot of different kind of KPIs and metrics, but you can untoggle a lot of them. So all you need for now is saves. Look at saves, comments, shares, and the overall reach. Okay. And then don't get too much hung up if how the account is growing in terms of followers or likes. Okay, like I said, double down on what works, cut back on what underperforms, and then do a new experiment. Do something new and look at it every 90 days. If that doesn't work, forget it, don't do it anymore, and then try something new. So you always have, let's say, 10%, 20% of your content something new that you've never done before. Yes, so keep it simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Some tools for some quick wins here. As I said, as for schedulers and analytics, I do highly recommend Metricool. There's a link in the description if you want to sign up for that. It is free for one brand, so you can get started free. If you need more features in the future, there's a paid plan as well, but the free plan is amazing and it's forever free. YouTube also has amazing analytics. Please, 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 if your church has a YouTube channel and you stream live on YouTube, look at your YouTube studio. I know it can be intimidating, but just go to your dashboard, click on analytics and look at it. And don't go too deep. It goes really, really deep. But just look at the views. You want to know what's going on, right? You want to know how many people tuned in to this live stream, how many people watched our video of the week or whatever we have. And then you can look at 3 things to make it better. One thing is your thumbnail. Make sure you have one, and make sure you have one that is clear, that has a short title that describes what the video is about or what the sermon is about. The second thing you look at is the title of the video. So nowadays, title, I don't think it's not just nowadays, it's always been like this. Titles need to be searchable, so they need to be search engine optimized, SEO. And so you can use the help of AI for this. ChatGPT is amazing in coming up with optimized titles. So you just tell Chat what your video is about, what the sermon is about, or you can upload your notes if you have them, and then ChatGPT will give you a good title that you can then swap out for your title, your video title. And even if you want to have the original title of your sermon in there, you can still put that in brackets or put it somewhere in there or put it in the description. But make sure that the title itself is searchable so that other people outside of your church can also enjoy that YouTube video. And then the third thing is the description. So your title should also be in the description. And the description, first of all, there should be one. A lot of churches don't have that. I come across that a lot. And not just like your pastor's name and your address, but just what is the video about? And again, use ChatGPT for this. Easy. You can upload the YouTube link or upload whatever you have and ask it to write you a short SEO description. Also put your handles, your social media handles from the church in the description. And that is how you optimize a YouTube video. So don't shy away from looking at your social analytics, including YouTube. And then I wanted to talk about organizing yourself. Make sure, even if you are, like I said, a one woman or one man show, or you have a small team of 2, 3, or 4 people, that you have folders. You can use Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, whatever you are used to share these assets that you need. And like I said, everybody, has some days where they can't do their job, or they're sick, or whatever, life happens. And that way, someone else can step in and just follow the same processes, the same SOPs that you have put in place. And you can keep that no weeks offline going for your church. I hope this video was helpful today, and I hope I didn't go through these rules too fast. So let me go over these again. Rule number 1 is take no weeks offline. Rule number 2, use your content pillars to make your work easy. Rule number 3 is batch create and make templates for yourself. Rule number 4 is engage online. Don't just expect that from your audience, but you also be social on social media. And rule number 5 is analyze and repeat. And do a new thing every 90 days. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you want more on church marketing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.